12 o'clock. We're about to fill your ear holes with the sounds of Steve and Igo.
Oh, gross!
Get ready for the most in-depth discussion on everything ECU. Players, coaches, the program, and more. This is Hoist the Colors with Steve and Igo.
Play ball!
You ready? This is 94.3 The Game. This is where the Pirates play.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors on a Monday, May 12th edition of the program. Busy weekend, as always, in ECU athletics as the Pirates hosted the UTSA Roadrunners, first place team in the league. Dropped 2 of 3. A lot to get into from that series, a highly contested, emotional series. We'll be joined by Cliff Godwin here shortly, ECU head baseball coach, to break it all down. The second half of the show, we'll talk some ECU football recruiting. Pirates had a big weekend in the portal, including landing a new quarterback, a new backup quarterback behind Caden Hauser. We'll tell you about him with SEC starting experience and more. Joe Samson will also join us. We'll get into the playoffs. Big weekend for NHL, NBA playoffs as well. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. All those platforms open for comments. And we also have the return of Philip Pilkington behind the glass in 94.3 The Game studios. Philip is back. He just celebrated his sister's graduation. Also, we had Mother's Day weekend, so thanks again to all the moms out there. Philip, congrats to your family and your sister. How'd it go up in Charlotte?
It went good. We had a lot of family. They all made it in safe, made it in on time. We were a little worried about the weather with them getting them on Thursday, but it held off, and we had a great graduation. It was a great party. A lot of people turned out and got to spend Mother's Day at home. So I hope you guys had a good weekend here in Greenville. I know you were really busy Saturday, but I guess kind of worked out with the doubleheader, right? You were able to spend – did you see your mom Sunday?
We saw our mom, Erica and I saw our moms earlier in the week in anticipation of Sunday being busy with baseball. So we celebrated earlier in the week with them. And then yesterday I got full-on Erica celebration day, basically is what it was, what it turned into, which she deserves it. She's a rock at home. So I spent much of the day getting her food because that's what she likes the most. And can't go wrong there.
You took care of the kids. I guess you did all the diaper changing yesterday?
Yes, all the diaper changing. I took them with me to get food, both of them. Twice. The third time I took my son. So I tried to give her as much space as possible to enjoy her day, which she did. And she does a great job. So appreciate her and all the moms out there. I also talked to Cliff Godwin's mother at Saturday's baseball game as well and wished her a happy Mother's Day. And Cliff got to celebrate some with her on Sunday. And how about the Pirates finding a way to win the finale? Look, it was another frustrating series overall, which we'll get into. We'll have a shorter opening segment here so we can hear from Cliff here shortly. But, one of the main takeaways I had is I was encouraged because ECU could have easily won, if not swept the series. And, we had a lot of fans that thought UTSA would just come in and roll ECU, and that really did not happen. ECU should have, in my opinion, won the series. They blew Game 2 of the series and came back to win Game 3. Friday just kind of got away from them, but honestly, they made so many mistakes. They also could have won that game as well. It was just, to me, showed ECU is maybe not as far away as we think, but also, Philip, some of the same mistakes that we've seen all year long crept up, and that ended up biting the Pirates in the end.
It did. It really comes down to, I guess the second game Saturday was a little more back and forth, but when you really look at the first 2 games, you played 2 bad innings. And just one in each, and they each cost you the games, which, like you said, it makes you prove to yourself, hey, you can win these games against good teams. The problem is this late in the season is proof enough. And right now it's been where every loss, it's like, well, we didn't get our rear ends handed to us. We just had 1 bad inning, or we just had 2 bad innings. And you can't keep living like that. Early in the season, you can have those woes. If you're playing North Carolina and you go, well, played pretty good for 8 innings, had 1 bad one, it is what it is, but you got a week left in the season. There's only 4 games to be played.
Yeah, my question is, can the finale of the series be a turning point? Because I feel like they just have not been able to get those types of wins this season, the comeback wins, especially at home. They have struggled to close out games or finish games from a comeback perspective at home. And they even tried in Friday's game, obviously blew that. Saturday's initial game, had a chance to rally and walk that one off. And is it too late to have a win you can build on, Philip, or is there something they can draw from Davin Whitaker's 2-run walk-off single in the series finale to salvage the series?
I know people are mad for saying this, but I'm going to say no. And the reason being is because it seems like multiple times this year. Now, you're right, a little different come from behind win in the bottom of the ninth, but still, we've asked the question, well, is this the thing that's going to portray them forward? Is this thing? This team has proved one game isn't going to portray them forward. I think it's going to have to be a multitude of games. It's going to have to be, hey, we had a come from behind win when we were already on a 3-game win streak. That's when it's going to have to be, not when you were on a 2-game losing streak. So I think it's going to need to happen, Saturday at South Florida after taking the first 2 games kind of thing. And I know it sounds pessimistic, but it kind of is what it is this year.
All right, let's go ahead and we'll get our break in. That way we can get to this Cliff Godwin interview. A lot of good thoughts. Went around 20 minutes, recorded it this morning. We'll touch on Riley Johnson, his status, obviously leaving the series finale with an injury, and it sounds like it's more like cramps than anything, but Cliff will get more into that. The series as a whole will also look ahead to South Florida, how the Pirates will plan with the conference tournament right around the corner. So this is Hoist the Colors on a Monday. We'll be right back with Cliff Godwin.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Are you ready to tackle those yard and garden projects? Come by East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, your local Coyote dealer, and check out their great selection of residential and commercial Coyote tractors. From zero-turn mowers to compact tractors to skid-steer loaders, they've got you covered. Some with 0% financing for qualified buyers. Stop by your hometown Coyote dealer, East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, across from the Pitt County Fairgrounds, or online at ectfleet.com. East Carolina Tractor and Fleet. We dig dirt.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
At Parker's Barbecue, our family has been serving your family for 3 generations.
For that, we say thank you.
Blessing families every Thursday. Kids eat free all day. That's the Parker's way.
Legendary food served from our 3 locations. Always quick, always delicious. That's the Parker's way.
At Parker's, our mission is to impact our customers through Christ-like service in a way that feeds them both physically and spiritually. That is the Parker's way.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The Pirates play here. This is Hoist the Colors Radio with Stephen Igo. Yes! That was so good! On 94.3, The Game.
Head coach Cliff Godwin of Pirate Baseball joining Stephen Igo and yours truly, Patrick Johnson, here, our weekly conversation with the coach. We appreciate Cliff joining us here after the Pirates go out and lose a tough series to Wichita State. We'll talk about it. Big win against Elon middle of the week, and exams will be wrapping up this week, so it's kind of a wonky time of year. Cliff, thanks for the time as always. Just kind of a review of last week. Good win out at Elon. And then you were in every game, by and large, over the weekend.
Yeah, we won at Elon. We pitched really good, played good defense, didn't do much offensively, but did enough, and won 4-2. Get out to Wichita State, have a good practice. Norby's scheduled to go on Friday. Norby is sick on Friday, can't go. So we have to start Brad Pruitt, and weren't expecting him to go long, because really he's a reliever by trade. Not that he won't be able to start one day, but just to open the game. And we give up one, I think, in the first infield single, and a run scores, no big deal. And then the second we go out and get the first two guys out in like 4 pitches, and then we throw 10 straight balls, and really still could have got off the field. We walked three guys in a row, and we don't cover first base, and then the wheels fall off. We give up a 4 spot, and that's really the most frustrating thing is we beat ourselves. We don't let the other team beat us, and that was the same thing on Sunday.
All right, I apologize. We accidentally ran last week's Cliff Godwin interview. We'll now run this morning's interview. Cliff Godwin recapping the UTSA series. Here it is.
Wait, sorry, I was moving it back in. Were you?
All right, let me know when we're good. We'll run the UTSA recap. Are we good?
Yeah.
This is live radio, peeps.
Sorry about that.
All right. Cliff Godwin this morning recapping the UTSA series. Here it is, I promise.
Igo and Cliff Godwin, coach of the Pirates, joining us here. ECU is about to embark on the final week of the regular season, scheduled to have Campbell tomorrow night in Greenville, and then the trip to South Florida, which will then lead into Clearwater. So the Pirates will be finishing up with a Florida swing and move into the conference tournament coming up at its familiar spot in Clearwater. Lots to talk about. Cliff Godwin joins us here. Coach, an exciting way to close the doubleheader. Tough one in the first game of Saturday's Twin Bill, but then coming back as you did. Great game and a great way to win it in a walk-off on Saturday night. After just one of the more emotional moments I think we've seen in the stadium in a long time. We'll get into that, but first, congrats on the win and just the thoughts on last week, particularly the UTSA series, which had a lot of nail-biters.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that we can play with anybody in the country. Unfortunately, we tend to really do some things that hinder us from winning those close games. I mean, even in the first game of the doubleheader on Saturday, I mean, you're up, I think, 2 runs, and we get the first guy out. And, of course, a call doesn't go our way. If you go back and watch the check swing, you really think the guy went. I think it was the second batter. So, I mean, just changes the whole inning. Of course, we just can't get off the field, as that's happened to us a lot this year, where we just can't get off the field. A lot of freebies in that inning, and our guys battle back, and we have the time run at second base and go ahead and run at first base, and Riley Johnson up, who, was hot this weekend at the plate, and the guy strikes Riley out. You go to the second game, and I think we give up a run in the first, and we put up a 4 spot. Then we go back out and give up a 4 spot. And then it kind of just, a lot of zeros were put up by Sean Jenkins and their starting pitcher. We give up 2 more runs in the 8th. Doesn't look good. And you kind of feel like that's the way it's going to end. And our guys fought back and scored 2 in the 8th and then 2 in the 9th to be able to walk them off. So it was an awesome moment and something that this team for sure needed, to be quite honest with you, because as I said in my post game, I think everybody around our program that has lived what we've had to live every single day, and no, it's not life or death, but losing sucks. I mean, as much as the coaches and the players invest in it, and I know that that's what the fans want is wins, but man, it's not like the guys haven't showed up every day and gone about their business the right way, and our coaches the same way. We try to figure out different ways to motivate, to prepare, all things. I mean, you pretty much turn over every stone you possibly can to try to figure out how to get this thing rolling. And we still have breath in our lungs, so to speak. As long as they have games on the schedule, we still get to play, and that's what the message has been the whole year. So I'm excited for this week coming up, and hopefully this momentum that we had after a walk-off win against UTSA will get our guys, a little confidence and some momentum heading into this week before the conference tournament.
Cliff Godwin with us. Coach Godwin, take us through the Davin Whitaker at bat.
Really just, the first pitch was a ball, and, you want to stay in the middle of the field in that situation so you just don't hit a ground ball right at one of those infielders on the right side. And he got a pitch that was elevated and stayed inside of it enough to get it, more up the middle than where the second baseman was. So it was an awesome moment for somebody that shows up and goes to work every day and is very mature in his preparation, even when he's not an everyday player. And we need more guys like Davin Whitakers, of the guys that just show up and really take care of their business consistently every single day.
Riley Johnson striking out, but then he comes back late in the game, game 2, and gets the runners over. I guess cramps up and has to be helped off. I thought it was a nice gesture from the UTSA folks to come and get him off and start to move him, and then obviously the Pirates came and got him. But man, what an emotional moment that was. Heroic in a lot of ways, and just so selfless of him to get the runners in scoring position, which obviously proved to be fruitful.
Yeah, you really got to see on a senior weekend the best of Riley Johnson, even though he's a shell of himself as, when he's 100% healthy. But you see him go over the right center field fence and make an unbelievable play. I guess that was on Friday. Robs a home run. And then you see a grand slam in game 2. His first at bat, you see him get down a bunt and just lay his entire body on the line, and in a doubleheader in the 9th inning, and just is barely out, but then is cramped up in both calves. And man, he's laid it all on the line for us every single day. He's been able to go out there, and I just can't say enough about him because of his body has just let him down, physically. I don't know if I've ever been around a guy that is this young that the body has just failed him to this point. And we have to manage him, as good as we can, but we obviously want him on the field because even when he's not 100%, just the toughness and the energy he brings to our team gives our team a lot of confidence.
I'll let Igo take it here in a second, but I was just curious from your, what was that moment like to, have him, kind of be carried off. And did you go back and revisit it by watching it? Because, it was a pretty powerful moment.
Actually, have not. I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, so I'll probably go back and watch it today at some point in time. I was really just caught up in the moment of us trying to win a game.
Sure.
And but I'll definitely go back and watch it. But it was super, super special for Riley. The fans really got to see once again the passion he has for this place, and the guy's been here for 5 years, which obviously is abnormal this day and age, and what East Carolina has meant to him, not just on the baseball side of things, but the relationships that he has created, and the love that he has for his teammates and the fans in this place is very, very, very unique and very special.
Cliff Godwin with us on this Monday, and Coach, I did want to follow up. Just, do you expect to have Riley this week? Is it a day-by-day situation? Just if it was cramps, is there hope he'll be back here for conference tournament play and hopefully beyond?
Yeah, I feel good about him, being able to go this weekend. We do have a game scheduled for tomorrow, but the weather doesn't look like that's going to cooperate. I'm not sure if he'd be able to go tomorrow. He was really, really sore yesterday, but a lot of it had to do with the cramping. I don't know if you guys have ever had, cramps that are severe. The next day you're pretty sore. So, his body was very sore from that, plus the other workload that he had from, playing 3 games in 2 days.
Also wanted to follow up, Coach, on Whitaker as well, and I remember I can't remember which game of the UNC series it was, but he just looked not comfortable at the plate in that at bat, and to kind of see his growth over the course of the year, his first year playing real college baseball. How much work has he put in, and then to get a moment like that, how much can that do for his confidence?
Yeah, I remember that at bat. It was Saturday in Durham. I guess that was game one because we got snowed out or iced out, whatever it was, on Friday. And it was a tough matchup, shadows, the whole deal. But yeah, he struck out, and it probably looked like he was overmatched. And in that moment, he was. But the guy, like I said, shows up, goes to work every day, and really just gives us everything he has at practice. I mean, that's put him in the situation that he is now, where he is a guy that has started for some in right field, has come off the bench and had some big pinch hits, whether it's hitting a home run to allow us to 10-run rule a team, etc. So, and like I said, I pull for Davin Whitaker as much as any player on our team just because he works his tail off every single day.
Because we talked about it this year, but y'all have, at times found, very difficult ways to lose games. But in the finale, you mentioned it, but just find a way to win a game like that where, it kind of like it was going to get away from you. And I don't know. To me, it just showed some toughness from your ball club that, we've seen at times this year. But in that moment, I felt like that was, I don't know, old school ECU baseball. Just kind of what can that do from a collective unit standpoint of, hey, we're never out of a game. We can always come back, especially against a really good baseball team.
Well, I go, what you said, and you're trying to be very nice, which I appreciate. So I don't, you're probably worried about me losing my temper because losing does suck. But, I've said this a lot over the past couple of weeks for what this team has been through from an injury perspective, from having to play a lot of youth. Your mentality would have to be elite to perform at a level that we would all want here as East Carolina fans and as coaches and as players. And our mentality has not been elite. And look, I'm the leader of the organization, and people can be critical. There's nobody that looks himself in the mirror more than I do. So I understand that. And there will be a change of the way our mentality is moving forward. I don't know if we can get there this year, but man, we're putting together a group of players to go to South Florida and a conference tournament, and we're going to give you everything we got. So, but the attention to detail that this team has lacked at times in practice has shown up on the field. And some of it is youth, some of it is just not being able to stay focused, which is a problem in all of society at this point in time. And I'll get on a tangent with the cell phone and the scrolling. Like, kids just can't, and it's not just kids, it's adults too. I mean, you deal with adults that they scroll, well, they can't focus and retain information and then be able to execute whatever you need them to execute at a high level. And people don't write stuff down anymore. But those little nuances of playing the game of baseball, man, like you watch, you turn on TV, and even in Major League Baseball, I mean, there's things that are done on a Major League Baseball field that have never been done before, like hitting balls farther, throwing balls harder. But the game itself is the worst played game in the history of baseball because people are created in a tunnel, in a cage, in a laboratory, but they don't know. Like Drew Downs not sliding at second base on a bunt in game 2 of the doubleheader. Like, you learned that in Little League. Like, why would you not slide into second base when they're throwing the ball to second base? And it's just that lack of focus in that moment that has, and it's not just Drew, obviously. I just point out that that's like an example of what we have done at times this year when, well, that loses the game for you. And at that moment, we were down 1 run, and I think it was 5-4 in that moment. And it stayed 5-4 for a long time until the 8th inning. And we'd have had first and second, no outs because they threw the ball to second base and he'd have been safe. I mean, how that changes that inning. Now you have a runner at first base with 1 out. It's a big deal, that small detail of not sliding into second base.
And is that one of those things, Coach, with obviously your program has always leaned heavily on player development. Now you just – maybe just with the way baseball is taught at a younger age, you have to go through more growing pains at times. I don't know. Is that just part of it now?
No, we got to do a better job as coaches. I mean, we're going to have more classroom sessions than we've ever had. I mean, we actually made that adjustment last week where before practice, we're just getting everybody together and go over and like have them watch a video of, we showed the play last week at Wichita State. Norby's on the mound. We're in a shift, and so Irby is, in, but he's over in the 4 hole at first base, and it's a right-handed batter, and he chops the ball, and Irby immediately goes and gets it, and Norby covers first base, even though it's a right-handed batter. And we make it look easy in that moment when at times, earlier that weekend when Pruitt didn't cover first base, then, the inning blows up on you. And so we're just doing more stuff like that, more classroom sessions, because we've got to teach them better so that they understand the game better so they can go out there and execute it when they need to.
Cliff Godwin with us. Let's want to ask you a little bit about Jake Hunter's performance Saturday in Game 1. Likely the last time fans will be, seeing him take the hill at home. I thought another case too where a guy gave you everything that he had on that particular day, probably deserved a little better fate as far as the result goes.
For sure. We lose, Friday. I think he threw 9 pitches in the inning he had. And AK were in my office after the game, just discussing who we were going to start in Game 1 on Saturday. And Jake came in, and I just looked at him and said, "Hey, Jake, who do you want to start Game 1 tomorrow?" He says, "Well, am I an option?" And I looked over at AK and was like, "Hey, is he an option?" He goes, "Yep." I said, "You're starting then. All right, let's go." And what an awesome moment for him, his family, just going through the Tommy John surgery. And to be honest with you, he's given us more than I ever anticipated, but especially in that moment against a very, very offensive UTSA team. I think he went 5 innings and only gave up 1 run. And gave us an unbelievable chance to win that game. And it's just special. And for him to be able to come out of the game and get the standing O, man, that's what playing ECU baseball and playing in front of our fans, that's what it's all about.
Cliff, Sean Jenkins, really great in relief of Zayak for you. Goes 6 2/3. And I mean, he is starting to, kind of maybe pick up where he was in the fall, but another just gutsy, excellent performance.
Yeah, for sure. And, it's funny, these are the things that you wish you had the crystal ball for, that we've been, Zayak's been unbelievable over the past 2 weeks. And Sean hasn't been great over the past 2 weeks. Not been terrible, he hasn't been great. So, we're going to start Zayak. Well, Zayak's not sharp, but then Sean comes in and, just dominates for 6 2/3. Well, if we'd have known that, we'd have just started Sean. But those are the things, those are the things that that's been tough for us to navigate, to figure out what guy's going to show up on in any given day. And really, down the stretch run, we're going to need Sean Jenkins to be good. We're going to need Lance Williams, which he was better this weekend, to be able to take on some workload. Zayak's going to have to, be good. D'Lo's going to have to be good. We're going to have to be able to get something out of Nick Moran. And then the other guys just need to keep doing what they've been doing, the guys that we have been our main guys. But, you can see some growth out of some of those young pitchers, which, man, they're not freshmen anymore, man. They've been as tested as any group we've ever had because we've had to keep running them out there. I mean, we have really 12 healthy pitchers on our pitching staff right now, and that's counting Colby Wallace. So just sit back and think about that for a minute. When, going into the year, we had over 20 pitchers that we were on our staff, and we have 12 healthy. Some of them you guys have never heard of because they're on the roster and they've been hurt the entire year. So those are just things that we've had to deal with the entire year, and don't need people to feel sorry for us. But we've got a thin group, but actually it's less people to manage. So that's one positive from that standpoint. So we will have a group that's ready and hungry when we get on that flight to head to Tampa for South Florida, and then also the conference tournament.
Coach, y'all have now played 8 conference series, but we got our first-hand look at UTSA, who obviously going to be the regular season champions. Just what was your take on seeing them? And you look back at the series, y'all could have easily won the series. I thought that Dixon fly ball right after their ejection, I mean, that ball, if he would have straightened it out, would have gone about 450 feet. But I don't know, just your impressions of watching UTSA at home over the weekend.
They're very offensive. They're older. They're well coached. I mean, Coach Hallmark does an unbelievable job with their guys having, they're older, but they have really good swings. They have a great approach. They're able to, of course, hit balls out, but really make your pitchers work. They can steal bases with the right guys. They can bunt. They just put a lot of pressure on you from that standpoint on the offensive side of things. And then they've got 2 or 3 really good relievers, and their starting pitching is solid. I thought we did not such a good job against their Friday night guy. I thought we did a really good job against their next 2 starters for the most part, especially game 2. The games are running together in my head a little bit since we had the doubleheader. But in game 3, I thought we did a really good job of taking that guy's fastball away, which was his best pitch when Riley hit the grand slam. And the guy actually had to change the way he had pitched up until that point in the season and threw a lot more off speed, to his credit, which gave us some trouble in those middle innings, but we were able to get his pitch count up. And then because we had seen their best relievers in the first 2 games, they had to go to some guys in game 3 that are not their best relievers, and that was really the reason we were able to walk them off in game 3, which that's been another thing we've been trying to educate our youth on. Is like, hey man, every time that you get another pitcher in there, well, that's an opportunity for you to see a less pitcher in a weekend series later in the weekend, and it's important. So, but that allowed us to win the game in game 3, in my opinion.
Last question, Coach, is obviously the interesting Thursday through Saturday series at USF, and then the quick turnaround of the conference tournament, always a challenge. Just, do you look at potentially trying to save some pitch? I know we've had this conversation a few weeks ago, but your take on, when you sit down with Austin Knight, kind of discuss those things with the conference tournament coming up.
Yeah, look, man, we know where we are. We know that we are going to need to win the conference tournament, and we're in the conference tournament. So, we are going to have to manage our pitching to allow us to be the most rested and most ready to play on Tuesday in the conference tournament. So that doesn't mean that some of our guys won't pitch, just their workload will be managed so that everybody's fresh on Tuesday.
He is Cliff Godwin. Coach, we appreciate the time as always and appreciate you joining us all season long. We'll try to connect next week in Clearwater as well, but thanks as always.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
There is head coach Cliff Godwin of the Pirate baseball team. Again, final week of the regular season ahead. USF on the road this weekend. Scheduled game against Campbell, although looking unlikely with the weather. We'll get a break in when we come back. Joe Samson will join us. The Pirates have a new quarterback via the transfer portal. We'll tell you about him and more on the other side. This is Hoist the Colors.
Hey, it's Jim Wells again with Wells Roofing and Gutters here in the beautiful community of Lindale, Bedford. At Wells Roofing and Gutters, we believe in quality first, and that's why we use Certainty shingles, which are manufactured in Oxford, North Carolina, a local company. In the event you ever do have a claim or a problem with your roof system, they're local and they come and take care of us in a timely manner. We could leave off some accessories and we could certainly save money, but we believe at Wells Roofing and Gutters in installing the correct way per manufacturer requirements, and we warranty your roof both in-house and also with our supplier, who is Certainteed. For a job Wells done, no shortcuts taken, and a good quality job on your home, give us a call today, 252-227-8403. We also offer financing, 12 months, no interest, no payments.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors, with locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors. Matey! Back to the show with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back into Hoist the Colors. We're having some issues as Joe kept signing on to Igo's number. Hey, Igo, you're back.
What's up, man? It's been a show.
Every mistake, I will say, has been my fault. I messed up the thing, and then Joe said, "What number does Igo use?" And I just read it as, "What number do I need to use?" So I sent him the number, and then he kept signing on as you. Hey, Joe.
Hey, guys.
Joe's here, and hey, we'll blame it on. Hey, Philip. When Philip disappears for a few days, clearly everything goes to.
I think this is all Dom
so
Kosolki's fault. I just have to point that out. It's always Dom's fault.
It is always Dom's fault. You got to think William even filled in Friday, and it was fine.
Intern
I come back, man. I'm not. You know what it is? I'm not used to having time off. I came back and I'm rusty. 2 days off, and wow.
Too much PTO.
Yeah, way too much PTO.
Hey, we're just getting the things ironed out. We're much like ECU baseball, just making those little mistakes, and they're catching up with us. But we'll be ready by the conference tournament. I have faith, Philip.
So.
Let's get the mistakes out while we can. Joe Samson joins us. He's in his Knicks pullover, which is a pretty sweet pullover. We'll get to that here we'll talk playoffs in our final segment. Gentlemen, I did want to lead with some pretty significant ECU football news. Joe Samson, former ECU football player, he knows as well as anybody. Having a backup quarterback is crucial, and the Pirates, I think, did about as well as possible. Getting a guy who is extremely experienced. Mike Wright is the name. Now, he's been at Northwestern. He's been at Mississippi State. He's been at Vanderbilt. He has played in 41 career games. He has started 16 games. And he's had more success as a runner than a passer. But I think when Jake Garcia entered the portal, we all wanted to see the Pirates get somebody with experience. I don't know if I could have guaranteed somebody with this much experience. You might have even honestly called it an upgrade, depending on how you want to look at it. But, Joe, we'll start your take and then get Philip's thoughts on the commitment of Mike Wright, who has signed his grant aid, by the way, I can confirm as well. So he will be a Pirate. Your thoughts, Joe?
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. It was the conversation of what are you going to do to replace Jake Garcia? And you did exactly what you needed to do. You went and got another Power 5 guy with a ton of experience, more experience in game than Garcia had, which is crazy to think about itself, considering the pedigree that he came from and the prospect he was. Mike Wright's a former 4-star. He's a guy who was supposed to go to Northwestern and was between Northwestern and UCF when he came out of high school out in Georgia, and then decommitted from UCF, took a visit to Vanderbilt, and the rest is history. So he's a guy that went SEC. He should be SEC. He's played a lot of football in the SEC, and then obviously some things happen. 2023, for those of you who aren't as into football as we are, Mike Leach passed away in December 12th, I think it was, of 2022. So that whole class had a head coach that they weren't sure was going to be the head coach. So there was a lot of stuff that played out in that 2023 season of Mississippi State with a lot of question marks instead of answers. And I think just the situation he went into and kind of how that roster turned over before they hired Jeff Lebby really kind of left a bad taste in their mouth as far as prospects. So him going to Northwestern made a ton of sense, to go to a coach that knew what he was doing. And then obviously they flipped their roster as well just recently. So I think given the opportunities and given where it is, you wanted a guy who, God forbid, Caton goes down game 2, who can right the ship, who can take the reins and not be inexperienced, who can play in a different system than what they're used to, but also still do the things that you need to do when it comes to the JDB offense. And I think his abilities with his legs creates a lot of opportunities to get a double quarterback package out there, kind of a wildcat situation with him in kind of that down set like Brad Smith used to be used for the Jets, a former quarterback who was converted to receiver in the NFL.
Joe, your thoughts on the addition of Mike Wright, quarterback?
Wait, did you mean to say Philip or did you mean to say Joe?
Oh, I meant to say Philip was. Now I'm making errors.
So I was like,
I
I did talk about him as a runner, but I could talk about his thrower. No, go ahead, Philip.
Now I'm all out of whack. Philip.
Just, it's not that I think they don't have faith in Raheem Jeter, but like, Joe said, you want somebody with experience. And I love that now if Caton goes down, you have a guy who's at least played in a lot of college football games. But one of the things that I think is special is the thing that Joe hit on there at the end. This guy's played in over 40 games, and he's only started 13. If you go back and look at it, this isn't, hey, he didn't start. He came in at the end of the game, handed the ball off twice to the seventh-string running back and took a knee. No, he was used in goal line packages. He was used in special, maybe 3rd and 2 kind of packages. That's kind of a more common theme now where you've got that goal line set, but you'll also use it in the middle of the field in short yardage situations. And there's been multiple games in his career that he's not started in which he has combined for 10 passing attempts plus rushing attempts. So they're not even just going out there and using him for 1 or 2 plays. He's been getting portions of a drive sometimes, and that just shows you his versatility. So this is one of those guys, he is kind of taking up 2 scholarships in one. He's becoming kind of your hybrid goal line threat quarterback like we want to see the Arlington Renegades use Holton Ahlers a little more at, instead of just letting him hand the ball off every time he gets in the game. But that's for another segment. And then also he can be a legit backup, I think, to Caton Hauser.
And, I mean, that's a great point. I feel like the intriguing aspect of it is the fact he's going to be a weapon, not just your backup quarterback, because when he entered the portal, the initial report was he was open to a position change if the right fit came about. Now, obviously, he is going to play quarterback at ECU. We know that, but it tells me the guy is willing to potentially move around some as well, as Joe mentioned, like Brad Smith. I mean, and if nothing else, if you're NC State now, you've got to spend significant time, or if you're any other opponent, you've got to spend significant time on a Mike Wright package on the zone read. We saw Caton kill NC State with it in the bowl game. Well, we know if they struggle with it then, there's a chance they could continue to struggle with it, specifically with an elite athlete at the quarterback position like Mike Wright. So I just, I saw some fans be like, I wish we got like a better passer as a backup quarterback. But for me, like, you couldn't have asked for anything more. And this also allows you to develop Chasten Ditta, Cole Hodge, Raheem Jeter as well. It gives you an insurance plan. If you're the coaching staff, as Joe mentioned, if something goes down with Hauser, like, you've got a guy who you can throw in there who's not going to be scared at the moment. So to me, it checks all the boxes. And I honestly, best case scenario, Joe, I just think the chance to use him as a weapon as well is such a difference maker here.
Yeah, big time. And it's huge for Raheem's development, if that's what they're looking for towards the future. This is a quarterback with a very similar kind of archetype, very similar builds, in just being able to use his legs and do great things. In 3 seasons, he had over 350 rushing yards at the quarterback position. And like we said, he only started 14 games over those 41 span. So if you take those numbers, in 2022 at Vanderbilt, he runs for 576 or 506, I think it is. And if you can do that as a backup quarterback or as a package quarterback, I mean, that is a phenomenal value you can add to the team. He's also a 55 or 56% passer in his career. He's a phenomenal thrower of the football. He's just not going to have that deep kind of pass that you thought he was going to have. He's going to be a conductor. He's a game manager. He likes to get the ball out in space to the playmakers. He's not going to take that deep post shot like we saw Caton do so many times against those cover 2 defenses late in the season. But he is going to get the football out. If you had to do it, he can run the offense, and especially in a system like JDB has where everything hits so fast, I think it plays it really well to him.
East Carolina, guys, has now gotten 6 commitments during the spring portal window. A corner in Rashad Reason from Old Dominion. They have added a punter and a kicker. They have added a safety/nickel and Jonathan Jean from Rice. They added a quarterback. They added a center yesterday as well from Presbyterian with starting experience. Like, to me, Joe, they're checking all the boxes here, and I know they want to add a few more DBs because of the depth there, maybe another offensive lineman. But, like, when you combine the fact they were able to retain everybody they wanted to, besides maybe Jake Garcia, and again, they may be upgraded here, and have added what they have added, I think the spring portal window has gone about as well as Blake could ask for.
Yeah, hands down. I mean, if you would have told Blake Harrell this time last year, hey, you're going to have to build a roster in the spring or try and keep the pieces together after Mike Houston gets fired midseason, I don't think anybody would have believed you. This was a team that had so much hype going into the season last year and so many expectations of winning the conference and putting everything together and doing those things, especially after going to reload and getting JDB like that. I think this is exactly what you wanted. You didn't turn over a ton of staff either. You hire a strength and conditioning guy officially now after the last one left because you felt good about his feel with the program and what he's going to do, and the development's been good. And you did exactly what you need to do. Also, they didn't break the bank. And what I mean by that is, and I don't mean this is a shot at anybody, you didn't try and go get the 5-star who's bounced around 6 different schools and won't set his feet somewhere. You went and got proven guys who have played well at their level and can make a jump up or have a connection to somebody on the staff. That cornerback out of ODU is completely within the Teron Williams family that he just coached. He said, I'm going to take him with me. He's going to establish the youth of these guys. He's going to show them what he's going to do and kind of teach that. Coach Tesh did that when we were first all young in the D-line room. He brought in a guy named Chris Willis, who was a phenomenal DN and played a ton of football at App State, and him and Coach Thweet kind of didn't know each other, but he knew he was a veteran guy to kind of come in and turn the program, and that's exactly what he did for that room, and you saw how it's paid off for the guys like Deontay Johnson and Elijah Morris and J.D. Lampley. All that happens because you're bringing in an old guy like that, and I think they're trying to do that with the corner room and kind of solidify that, especially after Savone goes in the 3rd round this year.
All right, he is Joe Samson, Philip Hookenan hanging out as well. Let's get a break in, guys. We'll come back. We'll talk playoffs. We'll let Joe get his New York Knicks rant in. Are they about to blow the series? We'll discuss that and more. This is Hoist the Colors on a Monday.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your roof is a vital part of protecting your home and family from dangerous storms and hurricanes. At Assist Roofing, we install and maintain metal roofing that provides precise protection. Add value to your home while lowering utility costs with a fortified roof to last a lifetime. With 0% financing, grants, and Energy Star Green Roofing tax credit available. Call us to schedule a free consultation so you can weather any storm with confidence.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
If you are interested in living longer and living stronger, Eastern Physical and Lifestyle Medicine is accepting new patients for a limited time. Finding a caring physician can be a challenge. Dr. Billy Smith is board certified in physical medicine and lifestyle medicine and has been practicing in the area for many years. Call for an appointment now to Eastern Physical and Lifestyle Medicine, 252-364-1108 in Greenville. That number again is 252-364-1108.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan? At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000. The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology. The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month. Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today. Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
The game.
Hoist the Johnny Roger.
Now back to Hoist the Colors.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors, final segment here. It's been a Monday. I think we've made 3 official errors on the show, but we're still here for our final segment. We're looking to finish strong. Joe Samson hanging out, as he often does on Mondays. Philip Hookenan producing as well. I'm going to try to call y'all the right name this time. All right, Philip is a Celtics fan. Joe is a Knicks fan, as you can tell if you're watching the broadcast. The Knicks are up 2-1, and it is going to Game 4 tonight. Like, as a non-partisan spectator of the series, I feel like tonight is the series. I think the winner of tonight's game wins the series. We'll start with Joe. Your take on the series thus far. Can the Knicks get it done?
You know, it's a great question. I think the Knicks can get it done given two things, and that is the lack of coaching that Joe Mazzulla has done in the last 20 minutes of a basketball game over the last 3 games. Even last game when they were sitting, I think it was up 30, and they wind up only winning by 23. Mazzulla does not handle that last kind of 10-minute window well at all. He does not make adjustments. He does not figure out that when somebody likes to get the ball at the high post, they need to roll down underneath and do those things to try and get that victory screen open on the backside. He doesn't do it well. And it takes Peyton Pritchard going for 23 points off your bench, being your leading scorer. Yeah, that's right. Cheddar Bob from 8 Mile seems to be the most efficient scorer on the Celtics right now, doing that to carry you guys to a game where the Knicks played abysmal basketball. But I'm not here to talk about the fact that the Knicks played terrible. I'm not here to highlight the fact that MSG was basically a glorified corporate retreat on Game 3 because Dolan likes to charge $875 to sit with Jesus while you talk about the new Pope from America. What I'm here today to talk about is the fact that the New York Knicks, for the first time in 5 years, are in the driver's seat towards the ECF and healthy to do so. Jalen Brunson was a laughing stock 3 years ago in many people's eyes when he signed in July in 2022 because what were you paying for? You weren't expecting anything. He was a bench guy who shouldn't do anything. Well, Leon Rose proved you wrong there. Karl Anthony Towns is soft. He can't play underneath in the post. He's not going to do the things he needs to do. He was an all-star. Josh Hart, the modern-day John Starks, he can't do anything but run around and get rebounds and triple-doubles. He led in scoring in Game 2. So I think what I'm here to say is I sat through Raymond Felton being my point guard for many years. Shane Larkin got me excited on the bench. I watched Cam Reddish play meaningful minutes, and then Tibbs never saw him again. I'm going to enjoy every moment of this occasion, especially if it means a date with the most overrated player in basketball in the ECF and Tyrese Halliburton, and I'm going to wipe that grin off his face.
Man, you promised a good one, Joe, when we were texting, and you delivered. Well done. After hearing that as a Celtics fan, are you going to laugh at that, Philip, or I don't know. How do you react to that?
Everything he says is legit. I mean, it's real. It's, kind of going back to the Mazzulla not coaching thing. I mean, I told my roommate with 8.5 minutes left in Game 1, if I'm Mazzulla, I'm calling timeout. Next guy who takes a three's cut forever. Never going to play basketball again. Well, guess what? He didn't say it. Yeah, it's weird how you think the easiest coaching would be coaching with the lead. And I think, you mentioned not working the ball inside late. The Celtics are becoming their own worst enemy right now. The fact that they attempted more 3-pointers than 2-pointers in the regular season, hey, that got them to where they are. That's great. But you still have to know how to score the ball inside, especially when you have a lead. And it's not like, New York has gone on any special quick runs. It's just been the fact that Boston quit scoring and New York keeps playing their game. They just look the same from the first minute to the 48th minute, and Boston's up and down. Boston's riding a roller coaster, and New York looks like they're just out there jogging a 5K and hoping to come out on top, and that's all it is. It's slow but steady wins the race. It's the tortoise and the hare. So, Boston, they're the better team, right? We know that on paper, but on paper doesn't win you basketball games, especially playoff basketball games. So you got to be the more mature team, and right now they haven't been, and it's the reason that they're, let's call it a must-win tonight because I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, has anybody looked that good in the NBA playoffs? Like, I feel like
the Timberwolves.
I feel like it's just been a touch of mid. I guess the Timberwolves have, but even they look kind of okay.
Some games,
they look good against the Lakers, but not so much against the Warriors, even though they're up in the series. I don't know. It's just been a weird
I'd say
playoffs.
The Pacers.
Yeah,
I think they've been the most consistent team.
Yeah, they've been the most consistent. Yeah,
crazy.
I'm gonna throw up saying that, but yes.
Quick minute on the Hurricanes, Joe. Do they win tonight to take a 3-1 lead? They're hosting the Caps in Game 4.
I think they do. I think everything that they've done and needed to do has been exactly what Brendan Morris wanted them to do, to play physical. It was really kind of telling when Stahl said that they kind of came out expecting to win Game 3, and they had to kind of look in the locker room, and Blake Harrell rings the siren, and we score all of a sudden. So just pointing out a correlation, not necessarily a causation. But I think the Canes get it done. I think they know what it needs to be. I think they know exactly where they are in the series, and that if you win 3 here, you get some extra rest, and you set yourself up for the ECF against a very tough Florida Panthers team, most likely.
You also have Vegas, Edmonton tonight. How about the ending to that Vegas game the other night, Philip? That is that a series changer, or do you still think Edmonton gets this done?
We saw Edmonton fight back from down 3-0 in the finals last year to force Game 7. Man, this Vegas team's different. That's who I predicted to win the Cup when this playoff bracket came out. This Edmonton team, despite being mature, sometimes they don't respond in mature ways. I have to say I'm a little worried.
All right, Joe, we appreciate it, man. Best of luck to your Knicks. I'm hoping they pull through tonight. Sorry, Philip.
Hey, go Knicks, baby. Knicks tape on top.
We'll see if they can close it out or at least get that 3-1 advantage in MSG. We'll continue to talk NBA, NHL playoffs. We'll also dive deeper into East Carolina's portal classes. That is taking shape with each passing day more as the week progresses. We'll start to get into some positional previews as well as we get closer to June. So looking forward to that on the football front and talk ECU baseball as well. We'll see you tomorrow for Philip and Joe Samson. I'm Stephen Igo. See you at 12 noon.
This has been